Hello, everybody. This is Frank with Iron Age News here on the South Florida Conservative News Center, Thursday, January 22nd, 9 a.m. And a very important story, which is being pushed down, obviously, due to the insurrection occurring in various states in the Union. But both Bill and Hillary Clinton have decided to take a pass on the subpoena that was issued to them by the Senate to discuss various topics, especially the Jeffrey Epstein story. So, what we have now is, as they would say, a question that could break the news or noise, depending on how you look at the news floor. And, we are in an era of blockbuster scandals. Every week it seems there's a new one. We have municipal corruption, we have NGO money trails, we have foreign influence stories, we have the unraveling of the socialist coup that occurred with the election of Joe Biden to the United States presidency, and the warfare that has occurred since as the facilitators of that realize that they may end up in prison. We have intelligence failures, we have a lot of other stuff. The public barely has time to digest one thing before the next one arrives. And depending on media coverage and what needs to be suppressed as far as the media is concerned, you don't get any further information. And we're going to talk about one of those stories, which is out there. It's not a tidy story, and it crosses a certain threshold, I guess we could say, to become one of the defining political media events of this year. That story is the unresolved relationship between Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, and the origins of the Clinton Foundation. Now, we're going to talk about some of this stuff here, but I would tell you, and I'll put the link somewhere for you for later. A lot of people cover certain issues very, very well. To say that you can go do it on your own and cover them as well as others is ridiculous when you are operating as a hobby. And we are operating as a hobby because obviously, we're not rolling in the cash. So I would say to you, if you have the opportunity to subscribe on YouTube, I don't know if he's anywhere else, but there's a show called Off Air with attorney Ron Chapman. It's a great title. It's almost as long as ours, but very, very good reporting, very serious about the legalities, which is what we're always talking about. Stop being a socialist and going with feelings. It's the law, the legalities. Let's move through it. So, anyway, check him out. He has a very good version on this. He has a lot of other videos as well. You'll get a lot out of it. It'll make you more informed when it comes to certain topics. So today, as we're saying, a lot of these scandals are transactional. Somebody stole money, somebody granted access, somebody cut a corner, somebody murdered a lawyer who was dating their wife. They burn hot, they burn out. This one's different because it's not a single act. It is a structure, and a structure that we may see repeated in some of these other scandals. The question that is being raised in the recent commentary in the videos, including these other ones that I've discussed, is not simply whether Epstein knew powerful people. It's already been established. The deeper question is whether Epstein functioned as something more dangerous, as a connector, as a financial social engineer, someone who held powerful figures and said to them, let's convert your prestige into permanent influence and revenue after you leave office. That question matters because the Clinton Foundation was created immediately after Bill Clinton left the presidency, not years later, but immediately, and it rapidly became one of the most powerful political nonprofits in the world. And if you remember any testimony from that family before, they said they were stony broke the day they left the office, right? So let's talk precision here. What's known and what's alleged. What we know, Epstein had a documented relationship with Bill Clinton. Clinton flew multiple times on Epstein's aircraft. Epstein operated inside elite donor and philanthropic circles. The Clinton Foundation quickly attracted foreign governments and ultra wealthy donors. Now, what is alleged by critics, but not by the courts, is that Epstein helped to introduce or organize early donors, and that the foundation functioned as a post office enrichment, and access platform. That its charitable mission and its financial reality were not always aligned. Those are allegations. I'm sure they're going to be, I can't say that, possibly proven, but the key point is they are allegations that cannot be permanently buried without a sworn testimony. And this is where the story turns from historical curiosity into live political risk. Written statements, you can control those. Depositions, you cannot. Under oath, timelines matter, introductions matter, early meetings matter. Who brought who into which room, who shook hands with whoever, that matters. And that's why to refuse to testify under oath becomes its own accelerant. It's not proof of guilt, but it's proof of avoidance. In an era where voters already believe elites operate by a different rule book, Illuminati, blah, 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 avoidance reads as confirmation of the broader pattern, even if no crime exists. And yes, we have to say some of this stuff because, believe it or not, I think that they're starting to sue small YouTube and everybody else, commentators. Why this could become a blockbuster. We are already primed for this kind of story. Look at what's happening across the country with the Somalis and everybody else, the municipal corruption cases, nonprofit money laundering, all these things. An example was given yesterday in one of the news sites that there were, I think, 180 NGOs operating in the state of Maine under one umbrella to fight ICE, to keep illegals in the country. There are 30 some hospitals in the state of Maine. Do the math. These are armies, right? It's an army. We have to deal with it. So even one credible document drop, okay, whistleblower or sworn contradiction emerges tying Epstein more concretely to elite institutional formation. This story will not remain about the Clintons. It will become about how power monetizes itself in America. How former officials converted their office into charity. How did Barack Obama get all those houses? He signed up obviously with a motion picture company a little bit later on, but he already had the Hawaii house, which was donated to him. He has a house in Georgetown. He has another one back home. He's an apartment back home in Chicago or wherever. It's not a half bath, you know. Where does all his money come from? How many fake book deals are going to be out there for everybody in the future? How many options on making it into a movie are going to be out there in the future? That's what all this shit's about. How oversight quietly dissolves at the top. That's not a partisan story. That is an institutional story. And this story couldn't have exploded 10 years ago. The media would not have carried this. The platforms wouldn't amplify it, and the public wouldn't believe it. Within a decade, this much has changed. Today is totally different. Truth in institutions is almost non existent because the people at the top and the people at the bottom sometimes are cross purposes, as you see at Department of Justice and FBI and various things like that, even in the military, where the leaks are abundant. The presidency is holding on by fingernails in certain departments in government. And then, of course, you've got the traitors in the Senate and the Congress who work for whoever it is that's paying them. Alternative media ecosystems are no longer fringe. Okay. Even the smaller guys have all picked sides. We saw that very most recently with the sainthood of Nick Fuentes. How did he become such a media darling, right? He's the easiest example. And then the rest of them are the announcers. All the people that came out of the Rogan school of comedian turned political analyst have all pretty much gone left. I can't think of one that hasn't. Occasionally they'll fight with each other, but just them fighting with each other doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean they turned right again. Every, I'm sorry to get back and forth on this, but it's these kind of questions that we're talking about. Fractured institutions, ecosystems in the media that don't work, or they are total propaganda or disinformation machines. Every refusal to testify under oath doesn't end the story. which is what they're telling you these days with this. They're not even talking about this Clinton thing in a lot of places. The greatest danger here isn't legal, it's civic. When citizens believe accountability stops at the top, cynicism hardens, engagement drops. They're trying to get you to think your vote is not worth anything. Radical narratives gain oxygen. Let's just go out and fight with the police in the street because we are the true embracers of culture. Every unanswered question becomes a building block in a much larger indictment of the system itself, which is basically what socialism is doing in the United States. It is an attempt to overthrow the government and rule of law in the United States. This is just a little part of it, but it shows you what can be done. You're talking about a president and his wife, who was also a senator, taking money for political favors the day after they come out of office. They come out of office and they are broke theoretically. And Epstein says, I can find some ways for you to make some money. And supposedly he is super hands on and is the formative force behind the Clinton Foundation. And if that's true, how many other people was he involved in doing the same thing? That's the question. So the reason that the Clintons are not going to go to this is they're going to go to court again because now they have a charge against them, which is going to be that you are not. I don't know if it's a felony or not. I have to look it up. But they're going to be charged for evading or avoiding or disavowing this subpoena. They wrote some bullshit thing. Hillary was some kind of lawyer back in the old days, but she wasn't great. And she's like, we're not doing this, blah, blah, blah. She forgets that her team is not in charge of fixing things anymore. They can still do murders and everything else, but they cannot fix things at the federal level until they get into an actual situation where they can fix a judge, which you see the Democrats are able to fix quite a lot of judges these days. And actually, a few Republican senators like Chuck Grassley and Josh Hawley and a few of the other ones, right? So it's important to follow this story, to see where it goes, to see what's going to be. Is they're all going to probably plead the fifth on this one until they get to a real court. Ghislaine Maxwell is supposedly ready to bury them all in exchange probably for some more time off. She's not a stupid person. And she knows that if they're in jail, her chances of suicide go way, way down. So that's where this is now. Like I said, if you get the opportunity, check out that other guy. His name, once again, let me look it up. Off Air with attorney Ron Chapman. He's got about 80,000 subscribers, so he's no sucker. And pretty straightforward stuff. He does a thing on this, which is a lot more detail, which I think you would like, so you can really see how dark this Epstein operation is. All right. So, other than that, have a good day, and we will talk to you later on. Bye.